if you're just going into having your own business that's just going to be paying you a wage, you might as well go and work for... That's it, stay as an employee.
In this episode of my podcast, Relentless Life on Your Terms, Season 2, Episode 16, I sit down with Nick Russian, who's a Melbourne entrepreneur who's in the hospitality and entertainment space, who used to own one of Melbourne's hottest places, the Eve Club, and now we're in front of his new place who's about to open, Bambi Bar. This is one entertaining episode that you don't want to miss. In this episode of my podcast, Relentless Life on Your Terms, I'm joined with one of Melbourne's leading entrepreneurs in hospitality and entertainment, Mr. Nick Russian. Nick, thanks for joining us, mate.
Chris, thanks for having me on this beautiful evening here at ACDC Lane in the city.
Which is an iconic lane here. Now, Nick, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Now, I know you go back, you do a lot of been in entertainment, you've been in hospitality for many years. How many years now have you been an entrepreneur for?
Oh, mate, look, I've been self-employed pretty much my entire life. So from the time I was 18, 19, I've been self-employed. So now I'm an old bloke now, and I'm 41 now. So so do the maths on that. So so pretty much my entire adult work life, I've been self-employed. I was working behind bars and everything when I was 15, 16, 17. I was a busboy, just sort of learnt the ropes of working in hospitality, and from there I had an ongoing interest in hospitality. I finished working behind the bar and started, sound like a real wanker here, but started working as a model when I was younger. And while I was working in the modelling industry, I was lucky that my look at the time did well, but I always knew it wouldn't be a long-term thing. It wouldn't be a long-term thing. So for me, I always made sure that I had other cash flows. So I would do some promoting at different venues. So I always knew that if for whatever reason the modelling stuff slowed down, I was making money from the promoting at venues. And then I started a personal training business. So I always had a number of different cash flows. And then while I was promoting at different nightclubs, I ended up starting my own entertainment business, events management business that was running a number of different bars and clubs around town. So eventually, the modelling work, after a number of years, as I got to about 24 or 25, I think it was, then I finally put all of that to the side and just purely focused on the hospitality game, and been lucky enough to have a little bit of success in it over the years. So here we are today at our new hospitality venue to be, Bar Bambi, which won't open until March.
So I'm really looking forward to it. I spoke to you before. Now, you acquired this site over 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And due to unforeseeable circumstances that no one on this planet could predict, here we are.
Yeah.
But full steam ahead. In March, you're going to open this great venue, and a lot of Melbourne's going to get behind you and come back and support you. Like you ran Eve for how long?
I had that for 10 years. So I had Eve for 10 years. Before I had Eve, I was partners in Boutique. Before that, I had another bar called Aqua Bar. So it's been one place, little break to another, little break to another, little break, and each time the concept has changed or tweaked a little bit, and this time it'll be a bit more of a tweak again.
But they've all been massive hits, so we can expect the same from Bambi Bar.
We like to offer a nice environment for people. Bar Bambi is going to be a bit smaller than the other venues that I've done in the past, but it'll be a nice fit out, that's for sure. We do like to spend a bit on it. If we're going to be trying to entice a good clientele to your venue, you need to offer them something that's unique.
So let me ask you, so in the midst of all these things and having to be an entrepreneur and back yourself over so many times, what would possess you to try to open a club now in these crazy times, or to be an entrepreneur and to back yourself to that point when it's so risky and so many people are turning away from it?
Mate, you're spot on. You're actually spot on. The reality is that we were so far down the lines with this project. So COVID has been so challenging for us. We started building, we were supposed to open at the start of the year. once COVID hit, we said, all right, let's stop all building works. We pulled everybody off site. Then, once it started to open up again, we brought people back on site, started building, and then again, there was the second wave. So we said, you know what, stop everything, pull everybody off site, and we just had no clarity of where we were going. And now that things are opening up again, we've made the decision that, okay, let's go full steam ahead and get the place to the next step. And look, if there's another announcement that's going to hold us back further again in the future, then things are going to be extremely difficult, and we'll have to take on that challenge when it arrives. It is madness. Yeah, in short, it is madness to be taking on hospitality in these crazy times. But I do believe that once things do open up properly again, I think there's going to be a boom in hospitality.
I think so too, look, and I think if COVID showed us anything, the Melburnians and Victorians, the resilience is something special from all of them. So I do hope everyone gets behind everyone, because I'm sure that they will. So if that wasn't enough on your plate, recently you decided to run for Lord Mayor of Melbourne as well. Yeah,
we did. I was approached very, very last minute. It was 4 weeks out or 5 weeks out. Yeah, I think it was about 4 weeks out from running, and I thought it was kind of an honour to be asked to run for the position, and I thought it was going to give our hospitality sector a bit of a voice, or make a little bit of noise around hospitality when all of us were doing things so incredibly tough. So that was the main focus, and I also believe if you get given an opportunity, you've got to take it too. You prefer to give something a crack and find out what happens rather than not giving it a crack.
You never forgive yourself.
Exactly right. So, in a short 4-week campaign, we're really happy with our results, and we amazed quite a lot of people with how many votes we took, and what it's done is it's given us a great platform for the future if we do decide to run again. My councillor, I got him into council, which was great. It's 4 years when it all comes about again, and who knows what will happen in 4 years from now. There might be another virus, there might be there might be something else, or I might be too busy with this business or something else, or too busy with family. You just never know. So we'll when I say we, I always refer to we being my family who come with me with everything that I do. We'll assess everything when the time comes again in another 4 years' time.
Well, look, I understand you're a family man. You've got 2 little ones as well. I've got 4, as we said before we spoke. So that always remained a challenge with COVID, from the homeschooling, from staying at home. But from my point of view, being back out and seeing Melbourne open up again, it's been an amazing feeling.
It's great. Yeah, it is, mate. It's great to see just a smile on people's faces again. It's great to see the masks off people. Are we allowed to shake hands again? I don't know. Are we allowed to, or are we getting fined for that still? I'm not sure. But it's been good, just to, as you said, the interaction of people smiling, just people out in the streets. So it's slowly opening all up again. It's still quiet here in the city, unfortunately. A lot of the office workers, they still haven't come back in. So that's going to be a massive challenge for us. But once they all do come back in, I think things are going to be really good.
I was discussing that to my HR department, actually. 10 is the maximum we can have for the time being. We've got a team of about 63 people now. So as of next year, we're hoping we can get more. You've got to have some team in at some time. So it's really frustrating, because working from home, working in the office is a different dynamic, because you can't have the same energy. So let me ask you, being an entrepreneur for 20 years or self-employed, what are some of the key takeaways, or some of the things you can advise people that actually want to go in there and give it a go?
Don't be an entrepreneur. There you go. There's the first bit of advice. Look, mate, you have to be incredibly crazy, yes. Resilient. I think in Australia, it's not really celebrated or encouraged to become an entrepreneur. That's sort of how I feel. I think it's a very workers driven culture here, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. So it's a very, very challenging thing to be a self-employed person, because you have times where things are doing extremely well, but then when things are incredibly tough. But one of the real things that make things difficult in running business here in Australia is the things like payroll tax and all the rest of it, as you'd be well aware. Like it baffles me still to this day how you're basically being fined for employing people. That's one thing that I just cannot stand. So, any advice to entrepreneurs is, people wanting to be an entrepreneur is, just really research whatever it is that you're going to do, and if you're just going into having your own business that's just going to be paying you a wage, you might as well go and work for. That's it. Stay as an employee, because. Sorry, I'm just waving to someone over the shoulder there. Stay as an employee, because it comes with your holiday pay. You can finish work at a normal time. You can switch off, and you don't have all of those.
You're not working 80 hours a week.
That's it. You're not working those ridiculous
hours. An entrepreneur is someone who doesn't want to work 40 hours a week for someone to work for 80 hours a week for themselves.
That's exactly right.
And you've got to be passionate. Look, when you mention tax, we are the second most taxed country in the world, so I always find that as a bone to pick. But if you're paying tax, at least you can lend money to make money. So you're either going to pay tax or interest. You pick your poison. So for me, I prefer to pay tax and lend a lot of money and make money through real estate, which I spoke to before. Real estate is something that you're big on too, isn't it?
I do, yeah. Look, I've always had an interest in real estate from a young age. I'm involved with a number of different businesses and industries, work-wise, but I've always believed in, if you can, while you're making money, you want to be investing that money into some growth assets. I understand real estate more than I understand shares and everything else. I have a little dip at shares, but I don't fully understand it, whereas real estate I have a good understanding of, and I believe that it's, while you do have a good cash flow, you need to be continually investing it into other channels, so when that cash flow does finish one day, if you sell that business, or if that business no longer exists anymore, if there's a COVID outbreak and you can no longer operate a hospitality venue, you have other assets that can feed you income. So, I've been a big believer in investing into property.
If you can use that, obviously, for your family, you can give that to your kids to help them get into the property market. And as you said at the start of this, you feel there's going to be a boom in hospitality, and by God, I hope that is the case. I feel it's going to be exactly the same in real estate in certain pockets. So I think what we're going to experience next year might be a bit of hardship when we cover the job keepers, job seekers, and the stimulus stop. But I do think thereafter we're going to follow with a massive property boom. And I do hope people do come out and support local business. And when we spoke about earlier on about the Lord Mayor, it was good seeing a business owner that actually understands business fight for what we need. Because people don't, if you don't know about business, you can't really fight about it, can you?
No, it's so true. It's so true. And that's where I got an enormous support from people was, hey, this is great. We're finally getting a different perspective on politics and council, and it's from a business perspective, because I think we all get so frustrated with the red tape and the bureaucracy and the people so often giving
you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah, people giving us different policies that they don't have any understanding of whatsoever. So I did. I had a lot of support from people in business, and again, it's something that I'll think about again in the future, whether or not to give it another crack. If I have a better run at it next time, it'll definitely help.
So Nick, just a quick question. Back in the Eve days, lines lining up, and I used to be even one of them as well, sometimes getting knocked back behind you, Nick, so I don't know why that was the case.
Wasn't me.
And it was just such a busy place in pumping. To today, the times are so different. Tell me a bit about the experience back then to what it is now and what you're expecting.
Yeah, look, it was a great time. It was a great time for nightclubs and nightlife back then, and it was a completely different time to today, okay? And the reason is there was different social behaviour back then. When I first started Eve, there was, 40 nightclubs or something in town. I think now there's 2, I think just people's social behaviour has changed. And we were lucky that we launched it at the right time and we exited at the right time. By the time we sold the business and finished up, the place was becoming more and more difficult every single week to promote and to get people down there. I'll get rid of that wasp there.
Why is that?
Again, it just relates back to people's social behaviour. I think it may have been when we started the club. It was there was a real big push in the media about the one punch, which is great that they've really been driving that one punch movement through schools. You know, don't get into fights, alcohol-fueled violence, drugs, and all this. And they were really driving it into the school kids' brains from it. Yeah, which is great. So it kind of educated them in a way to behave when they do leave school and when they are going out. And in doing that, though, I feel as though it almost deterred that generation of people from going to nightclubs as well, because with nightclubs there were plenty of terrible clubs, ran badly, cowboys running them, shocking. But then again, there was some very good operators who were running the place as well too, and ran a good, clean business like ourselves, and had a good, clean crowd, great management, and people felt safe when they went there. But when we first started the business, there was that many people who wanted to go to nightclubs. By the time we finished the business, there was that many people who wanted to go to nightclubs. So the social change went more towards food,
restaurants,
and events. So we set up an events business called Together Events, going back, probably, I don't know, sort of 6-7 years into having Eve. And we saw that that was the direction.
That was with Daniel, your brother.
My brother Daniel, and also a couple of other partners. And that was the direction we started driving. And that sort of started from the guts of Eve's clientele. And we built that business. We've still got that business today with our partners. And the other trend was restaurants and bars. And today, I still believe that people like going to events, they still like going to restaurants and bars, but I still believe people like to be entertained as well, but they don't want to go to a nightclub. So for me, that's why with this place, Bar Bambi, it'll be that hybrid venue of a bar where you can come and have a nibble, some salumi, a nice cocktail. But on a Friday and Saturday night, later in the night, it can turn into a bit of a party. You know what I mean? So if you want to come down, have your birthday for a group of 20 of you, sit down for dinner, finish dinner, have a few drinks, bit of bottle service, becomes a party. Okay, so that's a Friday night, Saturday night. So it's kind of unique. It's something which is big in America at the moment and in Europe for many years. We're looking to bring that concept here to
really
Melbourne.
Good. And look, with Melbourne, I think, in Australia, we've got some of the best culinary experiences in the world. We've got such good food.
Yep.
And it's good to have some good clubs. I had no idea there was 40 clubs back then.
It may have been more. It may have been more.
And there's only a handful.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just been a real cultural change into people's social behaviour.
So just to put you on the spot, will I have any trouble whatsoever getting into this place?
I'll roll out the red carpet for you, buddy. You've got to see it before we've even opened.
So we've got it on camera too.
That's on camera. That's on camera.
So to all my mates and that will be coming here. Now, Nick, you've been an absolute legend. Are you ready for the quick fire questions?
Here we go. This will be good. It's supposed to be funny when you ask these questions, aren't you?
Now, what's one quirky thing that someone doesn't know about you, Nick?
One quirky thing. I think there's many things that people don't know about me. It's nothing funny. That's the thing. I'm not a real funny guy, but I was a professional athlete when I was younger. There you go.
What athlete?
AFL football.
There you go. Giddy up. All right. Now, do you have any pets?
No pets. I did have a rabbit. Work that one out. Yeah, we did have a rabbit, and then when our second child came along, was born, our little rabbit. I won't say he turned into rabbit stew, but he went to a farm and lived a happier life there rather than running around our household. So.
And then turned into rabbit stew.
Maybe. Yeah.
Favorite show?
Favorite show. Does that have to be a movie or
Movie or show?
Movie or
pick.
show?
Can be Seinfeld or Seinfeld.
So I was actually going to say Seinfeld. I was actually going to say Seinfeld. I was actually going to say
Best show of all time you had to.
I was actually going to say Seinfeld. Can you believe it?
Favorite color?
At the moment, green, dark green.
All right, now, who was your role model growing up?
My dad, my mum and my dad.
Describe yourself in 3 words as a teenager.
As a teenager, ambitious. That's a good question. Ambitious, determined. That's sort of the same word again. Don't know the next word. Always had lots of mates though. I was always lucky I had lots of mates.
Friendly?
Yeah, friendly. There you go. There's another one.
Give me one pet peeve.
One pet peeve. When you're driving down the road, pull over the side of the road for someone to let their car through and they don't wave to you. That shits me up the wall.
There you go. I let everyone in actually, funny enough. Now, best piece of advice you've ever received?
Have a crack.
You mentioned that 3 times, and for all entrepreneurs, that's probably the most important thing.
Yeah,
if you're going to commit, give it a go, give it a crack.
Yeah, the old man's always said, give it a crack. You know, like you got to really, you know. He's always said to me, no one's going to throw a bag of gold over your fence. You got to go out and get it yourself.
And I come from, my brother's a fighter, and I love fighting. I think. Yeah, I prefer to go down swinging knowing I gave it a crack than not going, because that would kill me forever.
Absolutely.
So I love that.
Absolutely.
Now,
I used to fight when I was younger as well. There's another thing you can throw in there. Yeah. I used to
what
fight
sort of discipline?
Boxing. Out of Preston, Northside Boxing Gym.
My brother had 3 pro fights. I did kickboxing for a few years. Now, if you could have one last meal, what would it be?
Mum's lasagna.
You know lasagna is such a popular one. Name one book you read that's influenced you positively.
This is going to be bad. I don't read.
Your Path to Wealth, Brick by Brick. Have you read that one?
That's a great book. That's a great. Apart from that book, I don't read. I read newspapers every day. I read up on different articles every day about different, property articles or different.
Consuming content so different this year, so different in this day and age now. People consume content different while watching clips.
Absolutely.
Now, who would play you in a movie of the story of your life? That's got to be a good one.
Who would play in the movie?
Which actor would play?
There needs to be a young one who had hair, and there needs to be an older one. It'd have to be Bruce Willis, wouldn't it? As an old bloke. He's probably the easiest one to come in with his bald head. As a young man, who did I look like? There was a River Phoenix was who I looked like when I was younger, when I actually had some hair. So there you go. But he's not around anymore, so he definitely can't play me.
Best gift you've ever received?
Best gift I've ever received.
Besides your 2 kids.
I was going to say kids. It's hard to. Best gift. I don't know the answer to that.
I'm hoping it's in the bag I gave you before.
There you go.
Now, if you had one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower would be to turn back time so you could actually say, hey, I bought that stock market, that share at $1 and now it's worth...
Back to the future.
Yeah. If that's a superpower.
Now, if you were working in what you're doing now, hospitality, what industry would you be in?
If I wasn't?
Yeah.
I would, look, it's funny, I'm involved with a number of different industries. I have a labour hire recruitment business as well, so I've worked across a number of different industries. I've worked in education, I've worked in sports, I've worked in hospitality, so I have tried a number of industries. But what does interest me is either working in the finance sector, or working in commercial real estate. I think I'd encourage my kids to go in either of those directions. So if I did have an opportunity to have a go at something else, I would like to learn more about those.
If you need finance or anything, they can come and see me. Definitely can help. Now, if you in your current career, what's one of the hardest things that you've learned?
My current career.
Or in your career, as an entrepreneur, what's one of the hardest things you've learned across your journey?
Nothing ever goes 100% to your plan, ever. Nothing ever goes 100% to plan.
This is a testament to that, isn't it?
That's it. And another good mate of mine said to me before signing this up. He's an experienced business guy. He said, mate, he said, the thing that you least expect will happen.
Always.
It always does. It always does. But no one in their right mind would have expected COVID, obviously. Yeah.
Now, I agree with that. Now, from this episode, you've given us a lot of good tips, a lot of good advice. What are 2-3 key takeaways you want people to take away as an entrepreneur, people just watching?
I've said it a number of times, have a crack. You know, if you're really passionate about, you know, starting a business, do all of your research, do all of your numbers, and have a red hot go. But if you something else someone's always said, you can't be half pregnant. You know, you need to go 100%. Otherwise, it's not for you. Yeah.
So give it a crack, fully commit.
What I said, do your research.
And due diligence.
Do your research, your due diligence. That includes your numbers and everything, and give it a red hot go. A real crack. What's the third thing that you'd say? Just make sure you're resilient. Just make sure you're resilient and be ready. Nah, don't quit. Just make sure that you're ready to be hit with so many things that you never ever saw coming.
And you keep getting stronger. The hits keep coming, but you just keep getting stronger. You keep evolving.
Keep punching. Yeah,
that's right. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you enjoyed this podcast, Nick?
Mate, 12 out of 10.
There you go, huh? Thank you very much for everyone watching. Nick, you've been an absolute legend.
Good on you, mate. Nice to chat. Thank you.